E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover mentoring our youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our host, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Weda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I guess I should have checked my volume a little quicker, but oh well, hopefully that's okay. We're so glad that you tuned in on this wonderful Friday afternoon, getting ready for the weekend. I've had some good news this past week. On Wednesday, I had my lab work done in preparation for a meeting with my cardiologist the following Monday next week. And I'm very happy to say that my blood work and everything and all my levels are getting better and better and better. And it's a direct result of the Heart Health Pack that I take, because I did a lot of research, a lot of studies on that, because there were certain vitamins and minerals that I need, and I found everything in one simple package, which makes it easy to use and a lot cheaper too. Plus, I found out the benefits of dandelion tea. So if you'd like to know anything about what I'm doing there, please get in touch with us here at the TV station. You'll see our email address there on the marquee at the bottom. Inspiration at e360tvlive.com. And we'll be glad to share the information. Our staff will get the information to you. They'll get it to me and I will respond to you personally. How about that? And today, my goodness. Oh, let me say this. For those of you that may not understand the significance of what I just said, I had a heart attack October 29th, 2021. That was a Friday night at midnight. And then the following Monday, I had to have open heart surgery with 4 bypasses and all those things. And I had to find an alternative way, a more natural way to be able to increase the health of my heart, because I was having too many side effects and I did not feel good on the standard medication. I'm not knocking it, I'm just saying it wasn't a good fit for me. And I do not give any medical advice or anything like that, because I'm not a doctor or anything of this nature. I just share with people, what it is that I do, and I encourage others to be able to do, be prudent and do your research. Today I am joined by my young friend, Kim. There she is. How are you doing today, Kim?
I am fantastic. Thanks, Jim. And I am sorry to everybody out there that my, with this world of technology we live in, is that it is decided to go funky on me. So I've told everybody this last week that I kind of look like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, just move over a little bit so you're more centered your camera there. Yeah, a little bit more to your left, I think it is.
There we go.
Yeah.
I kept thinking it was to the right.
Well, it could be whatever.
I just had to go to the other right. That was the problem.
Well, there you go. That sounds like the military, they give us command, right face or something like, you're on the right, you moron.
That's right.
But today...
I go left, right, left.
There you go. There you go. That's important. It is so important in life to be able to get a grip on things. And to share with you on that, I have a book here by my good friend, Mr. Bill Heinrich. I know that Kim knows Bill very well. The 7 Levels of Truth. I show this a lot on the air. We do not receive any compensation for this. This is a nicety that we like to do for Bill because Bill is a personal friend of ours. But in this book, which he autographed for me, which I really consider, an honor to have his autograph there to me in personal note. But on the back, this says it all, because there's a lot of people out there hurting today, and we're going to be going into that. But on the very first sentence at the very top here, I'm just going to share this little short paragraph with you. And I'm just going to read it if that's okay. I know we don't like to be read to, but I just want to share it with you because it's written so very well. It says, this book is for anyone seeking answers. We're all seeking answers in life, aren't we? For something. You're seeking answers and solutions because you want success in your life. This is what I want you to just really let it sink in your mind. Own this, as the old saying goes. Your birthright is to enjoy abundance, love, peace, and joy or happiness, however you want to say it. And the 7 Levels of Truth will allow you to achieve all those results in your life. And Kim, I know you know Bill very well, and
Oh, absolutely.
I tell the story. When we were up in Colorado Springs, I was the MC of an event we put on up there, Pathway for Vets. And I know you know Angel Marie Monticelli.
Oh, yeah.
Just mentioning the name makes her giggle because Angel Marie is full of energy. She's very bubbly. She has the Shine On movement, and she has her Shine On song, and she had everybody up. And we're all doing all these gyrations and everything. And of course, I'm trying to keep up with 2 left feet and half a brain. And I made a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. I looked over at Bill, and Bill was over there doing something. It looked like he was doing a gyration, a cross between the Watusi and the Boogaloo, and I lost it. And once I lost it, I just sat down because I was done. But we had a wonderful time up there. It was cold in January of 2019, and
I bet.
oh yeah, but we had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. We were with Dandy Don McGrath, one of your buddies, huh?
Oh my gosh. Dear to my heart.
Him and his wife Sylvia are just fantastic
gosh.
people.
Yes.
And Dandy Don and I, we go back a ways, and the best way I can describe Don McGrath to you is that Don is the friend that you have never met yet. He's getting a TV series together. Did you know that?
I think you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And what it's about couldn't be more applicable to
Oh,
Mr. Don.
Isn't that the truth? He calls it the vertical mind. We were together on the radio. I used to refer to him as Dandy Don, and sometimes I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, during the week, it's real hard for me to get in touch with Dandy Don. It is. Because he lives out there in Colorado under that beautiful, big, huge azure blue sky. And Don likes to go out in the boonies. And ladies and gentlemen, to be honest with you, he likes to get high. There's no cell phone coverage out there, and don't even try to call him, because like I say, he likes to get high. He loves rock climbing up these cliffs. And one time early on, he invited me if I'd like to do it, and I said, well, I think that's why God created helicopters. I've got no desire to do that, and I admire people. But he's got a show come up called Virtual Mind, and that's his book. That I forget how many languages it's been translated into.
Oh my gosh. I used to remember what that was. It's
Yeah.
like, isn't it like 30 or 36 different
Something
languages?
like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that. That's seems to ring a bell.
Yeah. Well, what 3036 rings a bell with me? That he has, I think it's 35 or 36 patents because Don's an engineer.
Yeah,
And
he has
what,
36 patents. You're right.
yeah, and we were on our way back from Phoenix, me and him. We were driving, and I was teasing about those 36 patents. I says, you would think somewhere down the line you would have saved one patent from me, but no, you had to hog them all and get them all. But his book has been, it's in Spanish, Russian, 4, 5, 6, 7 other languages. And he is just honored. He says, I've written 6 books. 4 of them are good, 2 of them are stinkers. Don is just a straight up guy, isn't he?
Oh my gosh, yes. Having all of you in my house at one time is a
Oh,
definite, must-see entertainment.
oh yeah. I'm surprised she didn't call the security on us or something, you know. Get these people out of here.
I know.
They're about to drive me crazy. Boy, that was a fun time though, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we've
remember
been
you and
several
I,
times.
yeah, you and I, we went out to the supermarket and picked up some things and let's see, I'm trying to think. Sophia was there. Sophia, did she cook or not, or she didn't cook, or what was the deal?
No, she's the cooker. I'm the one that's not the cooker.
Oh, you're the food taster. That's what it was.
Yes. I'm the
That's
food
what it
taster.
was.
I love
That's what
that.
it was.
I'm going to adopt that title.
There you go. There you go. Yeah,
It'll
because
work well.
being a professional food taster, my goodness gracious, you could write a book on that, you know?
You could.
Yeah.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, there's quite a few people who have made a huge successful career in traveling around the world, tasting different foods and stuff. That
Mm,
it's
yeah.
on, the main TV line. So
Yeah. I don't have the face for that because when I taste something I don't like,
me
I don't
too.
think they would appreciate that.
No, and I'm not going to China where they like to eat
Mhm.
cockroaches and stuff. Like that's not going to happen in my world.
No, no, I hear you there. I've eaten some things and I'm glad I didn't know what the name of them was, because I've been in, foreign countries and it's best not to ask any questions. If it
Yep.
tastes good and, just let it go. And
What you don't know doesn't hurt you.
hopefully,
Right?
but
Oh, God.
Kim, today you've got some great information, don't you? Because in your line of work, why don't you share with people a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yeah. So uh, with both of the companies that I have, we work specifically with domestic, sexual, and human trafficking
Mm,
victims, and it is all about rebuilding themselves. And actually, they don't even know what that is, from the get go, and it's about finding, that voice within, and
mm,
starting with, that healing process of, how are you feeling right now? What were the feelings that you had? Like, what did it feel like when you were leaving? What are the stressors?
mm.
Because you can't throw so much at somebody who is just, you know, uh, left that situation. It is
Yeah,
overwhelming because their mind is spinning to begin with.
yeah.
So, it takes a little bit of time, but, you know, there's so many amazing shelters and some other programs that will help, either domestic or sexual or human traffickers, like
Hmm.
right when they get out, that provide housing and, if they need, let's say that they need drug rehab or whatever the issue may be in that regard, they are fantastic resources. One of the slight issues that we're having in the Phoenix area is that unfortunately the numbers are so high that all the shelters, tend to be full. And
Mm.
I know that that is something that the shelters, cringe about is that they just want more room all the time so that they can accommodate more that comes to the door. That's the last thing that they want to say is that
Wow.
we don't have space for them. So
Mm.
but where we, come in is that, Jim, like when you go and get your, you know, insurance, like homeowners, your car insurance,
Hmm.
don't they have different things? They say, well, this is what it covers, but if you want this, you have to add an addendum, or like, and you
Hmm.
keep having to like add that on. Well, I kind of look at what we do is we are that addendum that adds on after they've had that first part, where we are here to take them where there's no services that they're no longer getting from any of those places, and we pick it up and go with it, and
Yeah.
starting to rebuild and keep them so that they don't go back, that they can
Hmm.
find that voice that they didn't have before.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As you're saying that, a couple things came to my mind. Number one, they're in a very fragile state of mind because they've been in a controlled environment. They've been used, they've been abused, they've been told that they're nothing. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're a person out there that's been kind of mentally beat up on, remember what the book said there, what I just read about it, your birthright. You have the right to love yourself. No one can rob you of that. And
Yeah.
when you love yourself and you choose to love others, even your enemies, love them enough to let them go. You've set them free in your mind. They no longer own you. They no longer control you. And the second thing that came to my mind, Kim, there is probably a lot of opportunity for people who want to give back to society to be able to donate to some of these shelters in their local area, is there not?
Oh, absolutely. They trust me. There is a never-ending need for donations at shelters, or there's other wonderful organizations that may not be a shelter that focus on one of the three items that I spoke with. I know ourselves that some of the programs and stuff we have,
Hmm.
it solely depends on donations and stuff
Oh,
to
yeah.
take care of it, because we offer those programs for free for victims, because a lot of them tend to be right after they're getting out and stuff, is that all of their finances have been shut off, and so
Oh,
you know
yeah.
they are struggling to begin with, and we just want to capture them and work with them. So the more donations we can get, the better off we are.
Yeah, I see that little kid behind you holding up two hands there. She's got words on her hands. I'm trying. Does that say stop? Stop what? Can you know what that?
Stop bullying.
Stop bullying. Oh my goodness gracious, yes. That is a horrible thing too. It really is. And ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of good organizations out there where not only, let's say that you don't have very much, let's just be honest, a lot of people got more month than they got money left, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's just that your funds are tight, and I understand that. But I'm sure if you reached out to some of these organizations, they have some way that you could help them. Maybe go there and do something or whatever. In other words, donate your time.
Oh,
Become,
thank
be,
you for saying that, Jim.
okay, go ahead,
Donating
please.
the time, because uh, that is another, not everybody feels like they're in a spot they can do that, but they have the heart for it.
Hmm.
Uh, we will take your volunteer time. And I tell you that not only us, but like every other nonprofit organization out there, they will take your time. They have so many things that they've got going on that there's just not enough hands to
Yeah,
help and
yeah.
to do it all.
Could you share a little bit with the audience out there, like in your organization, if someone came in and they said, I've got a little time on my hands and I'd like to be a helping hand, I know it'd be based on what they can do, um, but what would be something, one or two things that they could possibly donate their time to do in your organization that would be
Oh,
very
absolutely.
beneficial?
Thanks for asking. So some of the volunteers that we work with is that they are doing a lot of data entry for us. That is very time consuming.
Hmm.
I can't seem to make more than one of me, so that takes a tremendous amount of time.
Hmm.
And we have all kinds of, brochures and flyers and
Mm-hmm.
things that need to be sent out to different places.
Mm-hmm.
So there is, and when we have events, we have lots of things that need to be done to, finding people who will donate things, people who will sponsor. There's just a ton of different areas
Oh,
that
yeah.
you can sign up for that is ever so helpful to an
Oh,
organization.
yeah. I imagine they could do little things like maybe take some flyers out to like a radio station to make a public service announcement. I know a lot of people don't want to be on radio, but the radio station could definitely make public service announcements about what they're doing. And let me ask you this here. This may be a security question, but I'd like to ask this. With everything being so remote, and I know that everything there is very, very sensitive, as it should be. Is there a way someone could do data entry from a remote location like their home, or probably not?
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh, they can?
Yep. I have people that have done a ton of things for me from a remote location, from,
Mm.
just working from home. And normally some of the things that they do that have to do with data stuff will more than likely either be things that may not be so confidential,
Hmm.
and lists of people that are not, specific clients that are coming in and sharing personal information.
Right, right. Now, I imagine there's a lot of things they could do with their data entry to be able to get the word out about, what they need, what they're looking for. It might be food, it might be blankets, it might be clothes, it might be whatever. And being able to get the word out for newspapers to be able to print that, and be able to, radio stations to be able to announce that, and maybe even a TV station, because, they could get it lined up where a TV station could go over and meet the key people at a specific charity like this, or any charity for that matter. And
Absolutely.
I could see where that would take up a lot of time, and it would really be a blessing for everyone, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We were so privileged last year that out here that the family TV channel 3 CBS News came out and interviewed myself and the partnership that I have with the high school in the area that has a
Wow.
program with Amazon. And I was just tickled pink that,
Mm.
to be able to just, share what it is like to be able to come full circle. And, the, women who are feeling stressed moving into a place and they have children and are like, what am I going to do? How am I going to afford? And we bring them a whole voucher box of all the household items they need. And, they're always so gracious, so grateful.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
and, I don't think I've ever had a moment where I haven't had tears in my eyes, because how do you not, feel humbled by that?
Yeah, exactly. Of course, I'm sitting here and thoughts are flying through my mind. I'm just thinking, that little girl back there, stop bullying. Organizations that could have the key people make a video and be able to forward that video to schools about bullying, and about, what's going on with abuse, because that is something that young people need to be aware of, and to also to be aware of how they should keep their third eye open, the eye in the back of their head. In other words, be aware of your surroundings. Watch people. If someone's looking at you, you want to make sure you keep distance from that person, especially if you don't know them.
Yeah.
I mean, and if someone comes up and pretends they know your parents and that sort of thing, I mean, that's where a lot of kids get picked up, because it's a huge problem. And put yourself in that little kid's shoes. How would you feel if you were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years of age, and someone, lied you, that's what it is, and says, I know your mom, and, they might know her name or whatever, and she told me to come by and pick you up, whatever, and you get the kid and they're gone. I mean, think of the fear that that little innocent kid would go through. I mean, that's
Well,
just so
I
wrong.
have a statistic to go with your comment there, Jim, is that
Go ahead.
there's actually uh, uh, almost 1 million children a year who are taken from their homes due to the fact that of neglect or abuse.
Mm.
It's a lot.
Mm.
There's five children a day that die because of child abuse.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a very prevalent,
Mm.
issue that we have, and it's all about the structure of the family.
Yeah.
What's going on, and
Hmm.
having the insight, and the more you get into it, the more complex it gets. Uh,
Hmm.
because then it's all kinds of different levels that you're trying to struggle with and deal with, and it
Hmm.
it can get messy really, really quickly.
Hmm.
And last week I spoke uh, in um, in court, specifically about the effects that starts as a child, and it develops over time, and you get into adulthood and you find yourself in a relationship that is just as abusive as you experienced as a child, and trying to get the point across
Hmm.
of the fact that the change that happens in the brain, whether you're a child, or the effects that you experience at different times as an adult when tremendous amount of stress triggers the brain, and what can happen, with the brain, and the discharges and things like that goes off, that allows for things such as having uh, you can have seizures, you can have where you get massive headaches that won't go away. You can have bouts of what you call delusional moments, because your brain can no longer process thoughts. You can have
Mm.
dissociation that goes on. You can wind up with, you were sitting there talking about, everything you've gone through with your whole heart surgery and stuff, and the, journey that you've been on for, your health and stuff. It can cause uh, heart attacks. It can
Oh
cause
yeah.
pressure. It can cause high cholesterol. It can cause major gut issues. Uh,
Hmm.
so there is a real false sense out there of understanding just how detrimental that
Hmm.
years of trauma somebody experiences,
Oh.
what it can do for them.
Oh yeah. As you were saying that, it brought back to mind. I had my heart attack on a Friday night, and I was in the hospital the whole weekend. They kept telling me I needed stents. And I went in for stents, and that's when they discovered that I had that silent killer known as the Widowmaker with over 90% blockage. And that's when the cardiologist told me, he says, I'm sorry, but these stents will not work for you. He says, I need to ship you out to ICU. You need to have open heart surgery. You're going to get some bypasses today. This cannot be put off. And people ask me, and I'm going somewhere with this boring story, so please bear with me. Um, People ask me how I felt at that time, and I said, well, to be honest with you, one word was frustrated. Because what I did, I just simply said, Lord, it's in your hands. If the surgery goes well, I go home. If it doesn't go well, I go home. I mean, I just basically raised the white flag at that point, because I've been in the hospital the whole weekend, been poked and prodded, and drawing blood out of the back of my hands every 6 hours, and that's a lot of fun. They'll even wake you up for that one. They don't want you to fudge and miss out on that fun.
Right.
But the peace and the calmness that came over me, and the comfort, and I knew everything instantly, kind of like if you walk into a dark room, you flip on the light switch, the entire room is lit up instantly. I knew the surgery would go well. I knew the recovery would go well, and all of that. And just 2 days later, Wednesday, after I had my surgery, I'm up in the cardiac unit there, or it's the psycho unit, one of the two, I forget which now. But anyway, I went into AFib, where your heart starts racing.
Mm.
And just 2 days before, I knew that I knew that I knew everything's going to be okay, and nothing could hurt me. It's going to be fine. Recovery would go fine, yada, da, da, da. And ladies and gentlemen, laying there in that bed with my heart racing over 100 beats a minute, and I'm panting like a dog that can't get off a treadmill, what went through my mind is, oh my goodness, I hope one of the bypasses where they took out of my leg the veins and made that loop around that Widowmaker, I hope I don't spring a leak, you know. And my point being, that's pitiful. But see, that is the way your subconscious mind works on you. And when it gets a grip on you like that, oh my goodness gracious, it can take you to the zoo. I mean, and then they got me under control, and the nurse, she said, "You were a little concerned about that." And I said, "Yeah, I was. I hate to admit it, but I'll tell the truth about it, you know." And but truthfully, I didn't have any pain, even though I had a big 8-inch incision in my chest, and they glued me shut and all that. But my recovery and everything went very well. I didn't need any pain pills when I came home or anything. And I thought I was special until I went to rehab and found out the other guys who had the same thing that I did. Yeah, we didn't have any pain either. No, I didn't have any pain. No, you? No, no, no. I thought, well,
That's
pop my bubble.
right.
I thought I was
Right.
in with the in crowd, you know. But when it comes to your subconscious mind, I've got there on the little marquee, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's an MP3 on YouTube. I'd like for you to put your earphones on, lie down somewhere where you're nice and comfortable, close your eyes, and just listen to the message. Because that will reveal how special and how powerful your subconscious mind is. And you will see your worth in that. And if you live in a country you're not able to get YouTube, go online and search it, because there's a PDF form. I don't know if it's in your language or not, but there is a PDF form that is verbatim that you can download. I've got both of them. I've got the Strangest Secret downloaded, and I've also got the PDF form. But this is something that is good mental food for you if you're struggling. Because again, embrace the fact that you have the right to love yourself, and you have the right to forgive others and let them go. Because once you do that, they no longer own you. They may think they do, but they don't. Because if they control your mind, they got you. And that's what a lot of people in abusive situations go through. I've heard stories. I knew one lady in particular down through the pathway of life. She was in a bad situation, but she stayed there for the security of her kids, having clothes, food in their belly. And it's sad for someone to be in that situation, because that's why it's so important for you to volunteer your time, if you can volunteer some money or a combination of the two, whatever, to help people in their hour of need. Because you know, Kim, one thing about life, it took me 350 years to finally understand this, but everything that we project gets reflected back to us. That can be good or bad. If I say something bad about someone, it's going to come back on me in a negative way, somehow, some way. But if I'm always projecting good things out there and I'm letting the bad stuff go, the good stuff will come. Because Bill talks a lot about there's two things in life. There's either love or there's fear, and they can't coexist.
No, they can't. And you know, let you in on a little tidbit secret here is that I've actually started this week, and I'm writing just a short little book, and it's all on my journey of trauma. And it talks about, I'll just give you a couple little instances where, some of the signs that people don't recognize when somebody has been through trauma, that if they do this, this is definitely, a trauma response. So one that I'll share is that that they're always trying to, please people, take care of the people, that they have this like over necessity to, take that problem on for themselves. That is a huge thing. I know myself that I did it at all costs to do whatever I could, because I wanted to feel that I wasn't going to be judged, that I wasn't going to be, looked on poorly, wanting to feel like I was accepted, to feel like I was loved. And when you've been through trauma, those are things that when you do that, those are things that you didn't have, that you were missing, that was
Hmm.
lacking. And so when you have that, it does not allow you for you to be able to have normal uh, types of relationships that you're building. And it's not until you deal with it that you can actually build the right type of people, to have them come into your life. And,
Hmm.
it took a very long time for me to, work with that, and another one is that not wanting anybody to be uh, mad at me. Like, I talk about how sorry was a noun, verb, and synonym for me because I was always saying sorry for everything. You know,
Mm.
even if somebody, Jim, if you said to me, "Oh, I was, having this bad day," I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Is there like something I can do to make it better?" Like, I take everybody's problem on as my own, and that like somehow it's like my fault, you
Hmm.
know. Oh my gosh, are they mad at me? Like, did I do something wrong? Uh, that is another sign that you have been through uh, a lot of trauma that has not been dealt with.
Mm. That's a very good point. I had never thought about that, but that's an excellent point. It really is because, um, when you're dealing with trauma, and we all deal with trauma, we all deal with trauma in different ways. Um, Sometimes when I'm dealing with something that's traumatizing to me or whatever, I normally clam up and I normally just get off to myself. And it kind of reminds me, not that this is funny, but it does remind me of a friend of mine that I was with in the Guard. I went over to his house and he had bought this. I'm not going to mention the brand name, but it's one of these spray painters, and he couldn't get the thing to work right. And when I drove up, I got out and heard all this banging in the garage. So I walked around there, his garage door was open, and here he is with a sledgehammer beating this thing into a pump. And I says, "What in the world are you doing?" He says, "I'm enjoying myself. Leave me alone."
That's
but
funny.
but trauma, it's going to come out. And Kim, if someone is going through trauma, probably, and I want you to expand on this, probably the best thing to do is find someone that's a good listener, that likes you and respects you. And if someone it's come in, they got a lot of trauma, most of the time, I imagine they're kind of clammed up, aren't they?
Most of the time, uh, people who've been through trauma will keep very quiet, especially if there is uh, any type of issues going on,
Hmm.
or that they have gotten out of the situation and they don't want to talk about it because they don't want they already are feeling shame, guilt,
Hmm.
uh, you know blaming themselves, self-blaming, and so the chances of them interacting or telling you their true feelings. Trust is a huge issue that goes along with trauma. So you will find that they're very quiet, which is one of the huge things that I did for years. Is that
Hmm.
uh, you know I always felt like I had to like take care of it by myself, or people would say, "Oh, I've never seen anybody like bounce back the way you did." What I heard is I didn't hear that like it was a positive. What I heard is that, oh, you know, even though your life is always like in the dumps, you get yourself back up.
Hmm.
So, what I heard and what was said, you know, um, I mean, I haven't had the conversation, nor do I feel like I need to.
Hmm.
But because what's important is what my perception is,
Hmm.
um, as
Yeah.
somebody who has been, a victim of trauma. So uh, that is definitely, if somebody is very quiet and reserved, they normally have a lot that is within that needs to come out, because things won't change unless
Hmm.
it does start coming out. And you were mentioning about if somebody's experiencing that, they should find someone they can speak with. If they can, that's fantastic. One of the things that we find though is that family and friends and stuff can get burnt out very easily because
Mm.
they've heard so much of it, and then they get to a point where they're like, uh, you know why don't you just leave? And then when you go, you're there, think that it's like a miracle, like the miracle drug, like you should
Mm-hmm.
just be completely fine. And like, aren't you going to get into like a new life now?
Mm-hmm.
So finding resources, we have a whole trauma healing program that
Mm-hmm.
is 12 weeks long, and it really is all about, you know, taking that journey through. So finding places, like that is fantastic. Going for
Yeah.
trauma therapy is fantastic.
I was going to put your website up here. I was looking for it here in the marquees, and I don't know if I have it here or not. I'll tell you what, would you be kind enough to send it to me in a private chat, and I'll copy and put it up there because that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And while you're doing that, we also have some slides that she brought today, and we'll pop those in there in just a few moments. But ladies and gentlemen, the main thing of it is, men and women both can be abused. There's no question about that. And the thing of it is that, when we're focused on loving yourself, I'm going to love myself because this is kind of hard to grasp. But wherever you are right now, that is the perfect place for you. I know that sounds strange because that's your starting point. It's not where you're going to wind up at. That's your starting point to become a better person, to become a better you, to go and grow, and then be able to be a blessing to others. Because once you have experience like that, my goodness gracious, think of all the people that, you can actually, be a blessing to. My goodness. That's,
Absolutely.
I imagine, some of the people who come in there that you've known over the years, um, I imagine their stories have been able to really connect with you and others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everybody's story is different, but there is this sense of familiarity, within the stories. So it makes it that when somebody's speaking of their own experiences, that automatically you have empathy, you hear them, you see them, you empathize with them, and you believe them because
Hmm.
you also have been through your own journey. And so there's that commonality, between, we always say is that, we're in a club we wish we didn't belong, but seeing how we're in it, we're glad that we have, each other to
Hmm.
be in the club together.
I believe I got your website up there correctly, victimsofabuseconsulting.com.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
And I like to capitalize the first letter in each word because it makes it easier to read and remember. Victims of Abuse Consulting, .com. And Kim, you got some slides here. Did you want to share some of those with the folks today?
Yeah. I want to read a quote that it's very quick,
Okay.
but it has a tremendous amount of meaning to it. So
Hmm.
I don't know if you want to put that up there. You can if you want. If not, I can just read it. That I have it right here in front of me. So,
Is that
oh,
it there?
fantastic. Yep, that's it. Perfect. So, when the little girl is healed, the women will show up.
Mm.
It's very, very short, very simple, but the meaning behind it is humongous and huge.
Mm.
Is that you have to heal the wounds. You have
Yeah.
to heal the trauma. It has to uh, every I the what I say healing victim is like peeling an onion. It's that
Mm.
you have to peel layer after layer after layer until
Hmm.
you get the center of it, and
Mm.
then look back at that little girl, because those who have been through trauma, if it happened at a young age, they may mature and do things, but their thought process stopped at the age where the trauma started. So it's not
Mm.
until you actually work on that and heal that wound of that uh, young person at that particular age that you're able to actually move forward and start being able to go through and uh, you know moving forward in your life, where you'll see change is coming, where you can feel a sense of confidence. You can feel like you can go for a job, that you feel like you can, go for, a promotion, or there's goals that you actually have for the first time. So I've had experiences where, people have been in our program, and after the third day, a woman came in and she was running a little bit late, and she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She's like, "But can I tell you what I was doing?" I was like, "Sure, please, by all means, go ahead." She said, "We've been talking about, like, when we first came in here and you asked me to say my name and tell me something fun about myself, I couldn't think of anything." And she's like, "You have shown me that there's hope." And she says, "I stopped at the community college and registered for nursing school." So, to see that light bulb go on, where, it doesn't mean that, the journeys of healing is over. Uh,
Hmm.
you have to, I read another quote today, is that just because you recognize it doesn't mean that you're healed. You have to do the work in
Hmm.
order for the process to actually take place, where you find yourself
Hmm.
thinking differently, acting differently, congregating around people who are more reflective of who you truly are. So there's a whole, as you can tell, just this conversation, that's a whole lot for a very short quote.
It really is. And that's very important. You got another slide here I'm going to pop up there. And
Yeah. So this is childhood trauma impact on the brain. So it goes over rejection, injustice, betrayal, and abandonment. So if you look at the heads, there is that the red part tells you the part of the brain that it actually affects when when you've had childhood trauma. So, for instance, I'll just give like a brief example out of each one. So, under rejection trauma, you easily make negative assumptions about what others are thinking. So, how many of you out there have found yourself where not only uh, do you think negatively about yourself, but you automatically assume that other people have a negative assumption about you as a person, or your capabilities, or the job you did, or your level of credibility, or your you know level of accreditations in whatever it is you're doing. So that is a huge one that fall just under, being rejected as a child. Injustice trauma, uh, moodiness or irritability. When you have felt like you have never been given the benefit of the doubt, because you have continuously been um, reprimanded for everything, even if you haven't done something wrong, which is very much happens with, especially children who are living with parents who may be an alcoholic or who may be addicted to drugs. Uh, Having an injustice is a very common occurrence that happens. So, as they develop, they will tend to be very moody and irritable, and that can come out a lot in school too, and cause problems for them, while they're going through their school career.
and
So,
we've got about 7 minutes left. I want to go through the other slides right quickly, if we may.
all right, sounds good.
Okay, here's number 3.
Okay, so the inner child wound, that is one that uh, you carry around. And inner child wounds is that I will use my own personal experience, is that, uh, I felt like I did not ever get my father's approval, that I tried so very hard, that I wanted to be that, that daddy's little girl is what I had in my mind. And, when, uh, you know, I didn't do well, and, I had studied really hard and I wound up getting a C on it. it got placed on the fridge to like show me like how I could do better, So that would be, you know, guilt that I felt from that.
Mm-hmm.
I felt abandoned because I didn't feel like he ever took the time to, spend with me.
Mm-hmm.
I felt neglected, like I had lots of low self worth, which wound up showing up in my teenage years. By the time I was in eighth grade, I started my journey on being a anorexic and bulimic, which was the direct result of what I had grown up with. Trust, trust is a huge, huge issue for me still today. That is something that is very, very difficult for me, and uh, there is very, very few people who have gotten to know uh, down to the core of exactly who I am. Uh, there's very, very few that have had that opportunity to share that spot with me, because I am very, it seems like I'm very social. I will talk, but people only get to know what it is that I choose to share with them
Mm-hmm.
versus being able to get to know what's at the center of what's where my wounds are. So that is something that I will probably deal with for the rest of my life, that I'm
Mm-hmm.
actively always working on. So, those are definite, wounds that follow you, that take time to work on and figure out what are some tools that you can use to start to work on that. When you feel that from other experiences, how can you, take yourself out of that
Mm-hmm.
spot?
And we got a one here, the physical pain coming through from emotional thoughts and patterns. There's a lot there.
There is a lot there.
We got about 4 minutes left, so go ahead.
Yeah, so we kind of touched on a couple of them earlier, so I'll just kind of
Mm-hmm.
scroll through these. Is that headaches and migraines, neck
Mm.
pain? Do you feel tense in your neck, like like it's pinched? That can happen. Spine pain from your lower. It normally comes from the lower back and goes up. Can happen from the physical and emotional abuse. Uh, Also, hip pain, pelvic, ankle pain, and pressure is that when you have a lot of stress and stuff in your body and you're not taking care of yourself and you're not getting enough fluids and stuff, that your muscles and your ankles and your fingers and stuff will swell up, and you can have pains in those areas.
Mm.
Knees and wrists, stomach, we talked about that earlier. You can have a tremendous amount of digestive issues because all that is in your gut. That
Mm-hmm.
tightness and uneasiness. That's where everyone says, I can feel it at the pit of my stomach. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's very much what happens with that.
Yeah.
So I think the last two is just elbow and shoulder. Also is that comes from tensing up like this. So uh, you know every single part of your body is affected, and it's one of the huge justices that we are seeing, is that the judicial system not quite understanding the uh, uh, the amount of like, physical damage that can be done, that people have to deal with the rest of their lives on.
Absolutely. And Kim, in my life, there's been times when I've gotten emotionally upset and I've gotten sick to my stomach. And now I don't know if I don't have that issue anymore, but maybe I just don't care enough. I don't know. But when I was in my 20s and things would upset me, it would upset my stomach too.
Mhm.
It really, and it has a lot of ramification because you're releasing a lot of negative energy. And that's because we're all energy, and that energy's got to go somewhere. It really does. And folks, this is something that you need to be aware of because it's kind of like an explosion inside your body. It's just going to throw things every which way. And it's important for us to be aware of that. And Kim, I want to thank you for bringing that out, everything that you shared there in those slides, because this is the kind of stuff that a lot of people have never seen before, haven't even thought about.
Absolutely. Such a wonderful point that you're making, Jim. So, I love when we talk about all these different issues, and uh, you seem to be able to have this amazing way of, just putting it right out there for people to, understand that, it needs to be thought about.
It really does. And ladies and gentlemen, our time is about gone today. They're about ready to get the security come in here and throw me out. But sincerely, on behalf of Kim and myself, we sincerely hope that we shared some information with you. And you might know someone out there that would really benefit from hearing some good, positive words that we shared. Be sure and click on that The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, and don't let anyone tell you you're not worthy, because you are worthy. You are worthy to be loved, and no one has the right of taking that away from you. And it's just amazing how we sometimes don't think that we're worthy of being loved, but yes, we are. You love yourself first. Most importantly, love yourself enough to forgive yourself, especially if you're like me and you make dumb mistakes. You better, otherwise you're not going to sleep good, But my point being is that embrace the fact that you are worthy of being loved. And on behalf of Kim and I, we sincerely hope that you and your loved ones are happy, healthy. I don't know which word I was going to say there first. Two of them tried to come out at the same time. Got them wrapped around my eye tooth there, and I couldn't see what to say. But sincerely, we sincerely hope that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. And thank you so much for tuning in. And be sure and share our show with others. Kim, thank you so much for being with us. It's always a
Oh my
pleasure
gosh,
being with you.
absolutely. And thank everybody out there for tuning in.
Amen.
We appreciate it.
You bet. Take care of yourself. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.